Jesus speaking. My beloved child, I see you there again, staring at that screen, watching those numbers that seem so small, so insufficient. That familiar weight settles in your chest, the same feeling that gripped the disciples when they looked at the massive crowd of 5,000 hungry souls and saw only a boy's simple lunch. The rent looming like a mountain, the bills stacked like stones, the endless calculations that spiral through your mind in the quiet moments before dawn. But before you let that old familiar panic take root in your heart, I need you to understand something profound about who I am and how I work. I am the same Jesus who took 5 barley loaves, the cheapest bread available, and 2 small fish from a young boy's lunch, and created a feast that satisfied thousands. Not just satisfied, my child, but filled them until they could eat no more, with 12 full baskets of leftovers remaining. 12 baskets, more abundance than they started with. Let me tell you about that day more completely, because I want you to see yourself in this story. The disciples came to me with their practical concerns, their calculated worry. "Send the people away," they urged. "This is a remote place and evening is coming. They need to go buy food in the villages." They had already done the math. They knew exactly how insufficient their resources were. Sound familiar? But I looked at Philip and asked him a question I already knew the answer to. Where shall we buy bread for these people to eat? 8 months' wages wouldn't buy enough bread for each person to have just a bite, he calculated quickly. Andrew, always trying to help, pointed out the boy with his lunch, but immediately added, "But how far will they go among so many?" They saw the impossibility of the situation, just like you see the impossibility of yours. Yet I took that lunch. I held those 5 loaves in my hands, hands that formed the galaxies, hands that spoke matter into existence, and I gave thanks. Do you hear that? Before the multiplication, before the miracle, I gave thanks for what was present, not for what was lacking. Then I broke the bread and kept breaking it, and it kept multiplying in my hands. Every person ate until they were completely satisfied. Your $47, your meager resources, your seemingly impossible situation, these are not obstacles to me. They are raw materials for miracles. When you thank me for that $47 instead of mourning the missing $753, you position your heart in the same place of gratitude where multiplication begins. Let me share another memory that might encourage your heart. Do you remember when the tax collectors came demanding payment from Peter? The temple tax that every Jewish male had to pay. It wasn't optional, it wasn't negotiable. Peter came to me with that familiar look of worry, that same expression you wear when you check your bank account. The practical questions were swirling. Where would we get the money? How could we pay what we didn't have? I didn't call an emergency prayer meeting. I didn't spend hours strategizing or worrying. I simply told Peter to do something that must have sounded absolutely ridiculous. Go to the lake and throw out your line. Take the first fish you catch, open its mouth, and you will find a 4-drachma coin. Take it and give it to them from my tax and yours. Can you imagine Peter's thoughts? Fish don't carry wallets, Lord. Fish don't have bank accounts. This doesn't make sense according to everything I know about how the world works. But Peter had learned to trust me even when my solution seemed impossible. He cast that line, caught that fish, opened its mouth, and found exactly what was needed. I made money appear in a fish's mouth, my child. Your student loans don't intimidate me. Your mortgage doesn't keep me awake at night. Your credit card debt doesn't cause me to pace with worry. I have resources you've never imagined, solutions you've never considered, provision prepared before you even knew you needed it. This brings me to a promise I made through Paul that I want to write across your heart in letters of gold. My God will supply all your needs according to his riches in glory in Christ Jesus. Read those words slowly. All your needs, not some of them, not the small ones, not just the spiritual ones, all of them. And notice the source, not according to your paycheck, not according to the economy, not according to your savings account, but according to my riches in glory. My bank account never goes into the red. My resources never run low. I own the cattle on 1,000 hills, the silver and gold in every mine, the wealth in every nation. When I provide for you, I'm not scraping together resources or robbing from others. I'm drawing from limitless abundance. But let me tell you about Sarah's story, because I want you to see how this plays out in real life. Every Monday, the same routine. Check the account, feel the panic, let money stress dictate their entire mood and energy for the week. Last Monday, she had exactly $47, just like you. The rent was $800, due in 3 days. She sat at that kitchen table with her coffee growing cold, running those numbers again and again, hoping somehow they would add up differently this time. But Sarah remembered something her grandmother used to say, and grandmothers often carry wisdom that cuts through the fog of worry. Baby, God's math is different than your math. Instead of spiraling into panic, Sarah did something revolutionary. She thanked me for that $47. Not sarcastically, not bitterly, but with genuine gratitude. She recognized that $47 was more than zero, more than nothing, and therefore something to be grateful for. Then she asked me to multiply it. She laid her hands on that money and prayed a simple prayer. Jesus, I give you this $47. I don't know how you're going to make this work, but I trust you to provide what I need. Then she went to work with peace instead of panic, trust instead of terror, faith instead of fear. By Wednesday, her boss approached her about overtime, extra hours she hadn't expected at time-and-a-half pay. Thursday brought a call about a freelance project, something that fell into her lap without her even looking for it. Friday, she found money she had forgotten she had, a check from a forgotten refund, cash in an old purse, small amounts that added up to more than she remembered. When she counted everything up at the end of the week, she had $847, exactly what she needed for rent, plus $47 extra, the same amount she had started with, as if I was winking at her, showing her that her initial gift back to me had come full circle with interest. This is how I work, my child. Not through magic, but through open doors you didn't see coming, opportunities that align perfectly with your needs, favor that doesn't make sense by human standards, provision that appears from unexpected sources. Your Monday morning doesn't have to be dominated by your bank balance, because your bank balance doesn't dictate your provision. I do. And I have already seen your needs before they arise. I have already prepared the way for your breakthrough. I have already orchestrated the connections, opportunities, and favor that will carry you through. Now let me give you a practical morning strategy, a way to partner with me in your finances, instead of working against me through worry. First, before you check anything else, before you look at any numbers or calculations, thank me for what you have right now. That roof over your head? Thank me. That job, even if it doesn't pay enough, thank me. Those $47? Thank me. Gratitude is the soil where miracles grow. It's the foundation of multiplication. When you thank me for what's present, you create space for me to add to it. Second, work with excellence, but trust with your whole heart. I'm not telling you to quit your job and wait for fish to deliver coins to your door. I'm telling you to work with integrity, to pursue opportunities with wisdom, to be faithful with whatever is in your hands. But while you work hard, trust harder. Trust that I see your situation. Trust that I have solutions you haven't thought of. Trust that I am working even when you can't see the evidence yet. Third, stop calculating and start believing. Your job is not to figure out how I'm going to provide. Your job is to trust that I will provide. Stop losing sleep over problems only I can solve. Stop running scenarios in your mind at 3 a.m. Stop trying to be God by carrying the weight of provision that belongs to me. Release the how to me and focus on the what you can control, what you can do today, what faithfulness looks like in this moment. Fourth, position yourself to recognize breakthrough when it comes. Breakthrough rarely looks like a lottery win or a briefcase of cash appearing on your doorstep. More often, it looks like overtime you didn't expect, opportunities that come through casual conversations, favor that opens doors you didn't even know existed, solutions that emerge from problems, provision that appears through relationships and connections. Stay alert, stay expectant, stay grateful. When that boss mentions extra work, say yes. When that friend mentions an opportunity, listen carefully. When that door opens slightly, walk through it with confidence. I often provide through natural means that align supernaturally with your timing and needs. Before you begin your day, I want you to pray with me. Not a desperate plea from a place of panic, but a confident declaration from a place of partnership. Jesus, I give you my financial stress right now. I refuse to carry what you're designed to bear. I thank you for what I have, and I trust you completely for what I need. Help me work with excellence today while resting in your provision. Show me that you are bigger than my bank account, more resourceful than my budget, more faithful than my fear. Open my eyes to see the opportunities you place in my path. Give me wisdom to recognize your provision when it comes.